So what I wanted to start off with, Josh, is the Eco Solutions division is really ramping up, and we've moved into so many different markets,
Mhm.
and we're finding all kinds of uses for our upcycled shipping containers, such as for housing, for mobile workstations, for bathrooms, mobile dog grooming facilities, food stands, crisis recovery. We're even renting things on Airbnb for at RV camps. We're doing hunting retreats, and so there's a lot going on, and it's got to be really important that the behind the scenes is organized. And I know as finance administrator, you're so busy day to day behind the scenes. We spoke a little before this more formal interview, and I was so impressed with your background, and you've had so many different roles and whatnots in different fields. And I would love for our readers and our followers to hear a little bit more about your background and what's unique about what you bring to this role at Eco Solutions.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you mentioned, I have a experience that kind of runs the gamut of different industries. I started off, I guess you could call it my professional career. It was really just a summer job, but I started off at the floor of a movie theater. From there, I went on to be behind the front desk of a timeshare resort. I've also done some of the back end office administrative tasks of a timeshare resort, like booking reservations. I spent a little bit of time in the compliance division of that same timeshare resort. I've been an assistant to financial advisors. So I've had a very unique opportunity to basically be performing the same range of tasks purely administratively, but across a pretty wide field of industries. And so I think that has allowed me to be rigid enough to be systematic, but flexible enough to adapt to, as you mentioned, we're in the construction field technically, but there's so much that's entailed. You are going through all the different projects we've done, and you kind of forget when you're in the middle of things how many different projects and different types of projects you've been working on. But as you were going through that list, I was like, have we really done all that? And we have. We've done basically
Yeah,
everything. Um, so I think the flexibility of being in different types of fields, but still at the core, it's always been the same type of tasks. I think that's helped me tremendously in being able to adapt to a field that I really have never had any experience with, but I had the in because I knew it was going to be at its heart an office administrative type of role.
for sure, for sure. Yeah, and adaptability through all the lines of business here at Land Betterment. Eco Solutions is a division of Land Betterment, and we've all had to been super adaptable and
Oh yes.
agile. And that's part of the fun of working for entrepreneurs who
Mhm.
want to do things like nobody else has done it before. And I think Eco Solutions is certainly that.
Yes. Yes, I was thinking the other day, when you're on the cutting edge, you're going to bleed. And that's just the price of being on the cutting edge, and the price of being so forward thinking is that, you have to go through all of the messiness of both a startup and an industry that is very new and that is exploring new things. And if you want to be in that space, if you want to make an impact in that space, you have to pay the price of being nimble, being
Yep.
agile, the setbacks, the not chaos, but sometimes the uncertainty because you're doing something no one's done before. You have to make all the mistakes in order to set the standard. Whereas in other industries, the standard has been set for 50, 70, 100 years. We're having to go through that and make the system ourselves.
Right. But it would be boring. Right. And that's why
Absolutely.
we're all part of this company because, it's kind of a thrill every day. I know what excites me about Eco Solutions, but and it's so exciting every day to come to work. I never know what I'm going to find.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
there's always, oh, we're going to make a food stand that travels around to different locations. Well, that's cool.
Yep. Yep.
So what excites you most about Eco Solutions?
Well, when I was kind of in my younger days, thinking about what the rest of my professional life would look like, I was very, I was kind of resigned to the idea that I was just going to be like a typical office drone, or I would have a job that would provide for my family, which is what's most important, but that wouldn't be spectacular in any way. Um, but I find myself here in a position where I could legitimately make or break the day-to-day operations of a company, which is terrifying, obviously, the weight of that responsibility. But to be in a position where I'm given the amount of responsibility and ownership of, again, what we've discussed is a pretty cutting edge company. That is never a position I thought I would find myself in. And I don't want to sound arrogant, but it's nice to feel that important. It's nice to feel that integral to the success of a company.
Yep.
Especially if it's not something I'd ever considered that I would be in, but I've been afforded that opportunity. I've been entrusted with that. Even though, when I came in, I had no construction experience. It's not an industry that, I particularly knew a lot about, but I was given a large amount of trust, and I'm given a large amount of leeway to make this job what I would like it to be in order to best service the company. And so it's exciting, and it's exciting to have that level of flexibility and to have that level of ownership.
Absolutely. And what is your most favorite project that you've worked on? Like, what's your most favorite model or deployment that you've been part of at Eco Solutions?
The dog grooming unit that you mentioned, the interior of that, we kind of did like this whole expose, like the electrical was like exposed pipe throughout the project.
Uh-huh.
Aesthetically, that just really drew me in for some reason. We have a job that we're about to work on right now. I'm not sure if I can mention it, but
Well, then don't mention
yeah,
it.
but I will say that the technology that will be housed within the container um, is really cool. And I think we have, because there's a lot of conversations that are above my pay grade. So that's just the tip of the iceberg. I'm sure
We
there's
can't wait to
conversations.
see more.
Yes, yes. And so the technology that they can kind of stuff into these 20 and 40-foot containers is very impressive. And so again, that's going back to the point about being a part of something that I never considered I would be. I had committed myself to just being a typical office drone for 30, 40 years and retiring. But being a part of a company that is doing things that like on paper sound kind of crazy, but also really cool, is again something that 5 or 10 years ago, if I had told myself I'd be in this position, I would say I was crazy. But now I'm here, and it's very empowering and rewarding to be such a pivotal part of a team that's doing such cutting edge things.
I totally agree with you. I feel the same way. Like, I never thought I'd be working with shipping containers. Like,
Yeah. What
that
are
was
those
not
do?
part of my background when I was in New York working at an art auction house and an international bank. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's super cool.